You know when you get my attention? What do you mean the season hasn't even started yet and the guy's arrested outside the stadium? Like, you got my attention, NFL. It's 3 hours early. I was waiting for 3 hours from now. I'm gonna watch some football. And here's the thing about innocent until proven guilty, because I don't know what happened there. We'll talk to Jeff Darlington and we'll figure out, we'll get some details. But here's the funny thing about innocent until proven guilty in this one situation. If I told you 3 hours before the game, hey, who's going to get arrested? Any of you guessing Waddle?
Nope.
Like, if you had to guess and be right, not just with the Dolphins, in the league. Like, one guy's going to get arrested 3 hours before the game. And again, I'm going to remind you that we don't know the details. And I actually think the more dangerous thing in that situation is short cop on motorcycle. Like, that to me sets off flares. Like, if the police officer is someone I can see when he pulls me over, I'm more scared than if he's someone whose face I cannot see because he's standing. Because that guy, short guy with a gun, that's got administrative leave written all over it.
Really? Is that a rule? I mean,
it's my rule.
Okay.
I don't know whether it's anybody else's rule, but if I can see this is what happened, okay? When you get administrative leave, it's because you didn't have time for the cover-up. There's too much video outside that stadium for us not to see, oh, wait a minute, 4 motorcycle cops, and one of them's really short. Now, Tyreek Hill, I will say, if there were a guy 3 hours before a game that I was profiling, and I'm looking for expensive car and I'm profiling drug dealer, I'm outside a stadium. Most of these guys are going to be athletes. Who's the one that's going to look smaller than the rest? Like, Calais Campbell's going into the stadium. I know that's a football player.
That guy's playing football today.
Tyreek Hill, I'm not. Looks a little small.
Calais Campbell's driving to the stadium in a big truck.
Yeah. The really nice car Tyreek had. Though.
Yeah, but to Dan's point, you have no question when you see Calais Campbell that he is indeed a Dolphin and he's playing football in a couple of hours.
That's right.
He was also detained.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
For good being a teammate, being a good teammate.
And I don't think it's necessary, and this video here is damning, boy. Tyreek Hill on his face, on the ground, chest on the ground. They hit him some, correct, Roy?
Yes. He was complying. He was cuffed. He was standing, and then they hit him.
And was there anything put in his back? Because this is scary, Stugotz. Like this is a scary situation if you see everything that's happening in America, and now you've got your arms locked behind your back, and you don't even think that a crowd of people can save you, because there was a crowd around George Floyd. And I know that's taking it out excessive, but when you've got your hands behind your back and you cannot do anything, and there's the physical force of people whose motives you don't know about, all of that is probably scarier to Tyreek than anything he faced during the football game later when he had 130 yards. And it's the first time I get to cover the resilience of a home opener. The team bounces back from an arrest. Tyreek Hill, evidently, was speeding. He can't go anywhere slow.
Mm-hmm.
So he's speeding outside of the stadium is where this started. And then we'll talk to Jeff Darlington here in a little bit about being the Scheffler, about how he got Schefflered, and now Darlington is the Scheffler reporter.
When an athlete gets arrested, Jeff Darlington will be there. I mean,
that
it's
seems
amazing.
to be what's happening, yes.
Right.
That seems to be how that's going. This was my single favorite part of all of the nonsense around Tyreek Hill. It wasn't just Drew Rosenhaus soaring back into my life. I love Drew for a lot of different reasons. One of them is that on PTI, they once asked him 15 years ago as part of 5 Good Minutes in an interview question, do you have a soul? And he answered it totally seriously, but I just love that they asked the question. Drew Rosenhaus wasn't merely back in our life because he's advocate and spokesman for Tyreek Hill, and said purposefully, I'm not here to make any allegations. So he's not going to escalate the situation.
Right.
But my favorite part of all of it is Drew Rosenhaus. Everyone's got a ton of questions. Hey, it's a curious thing. A star wide receiver arrested. Wait, right near the stadium? How can not everyone know that they're wearing his jerseys over there? Like, how do you not know who that is? We saw it by the car. Like, everyone knows who that is. This is my favorite part. Drew Rosenhaus, we've got 1,000 questions for you. Civil rights, human decency, racism. He comes out, first of all, Tyreek's going to play. Your fantasy team's fine.
Yeah.
All you actually care about here is in 3 hours, is my bet safe and is Tyreek going to play because I need 100+ yards from him tonight. So right from the bat, Drew comes out and is like, whatever you may be asking yourself, don't worry, he's going to play.
Yeah.
They tell you with opening speeches, make the crowd comfortable with your first things that you say if you want people on your side. Don't know where this is going to escalate to from here, but Tyreek's going to get you $130.
Comforted me.
Comforted everybody.
Yeah. But then he gave us helpful insight. Like, Tyreek is often telling me how much he loves and respects the cops. Mm-hmm. And he was apparently, according to Drew Rosenhaus, in that moment, I don't know why he got such a hostile reaction, because he was telling the cops, I want to be you when I grow up.
Yeah. He told the cop, he doubled down on that, too. That wasn't just a Drew. They came up with that together. Because I don't believe that. But I find it hard to believe that Tyreek Hill is going to retire from football and become a police officer. But Drew Rosenhaus put that out there on his ESPN interview. And then in the post-game press conference, Tyreek doubled down and he said, you know what? I want to be a police officer. I have a trooper hat.
Huh. He'd be a great one.
Tyreek gave a great post-game interview from the field. It's just all absurd, and everybody's eyes were locked in on him as soon as he scored, wanting to see the celebration, because you knew he'd absolutely do something that'd be held against him if this ever went to court.
The celebration was great.
Can we laugh at that?
Was that on television though, or was it
they
just
cut away, and you had to monitor socials to see it. It felt like the television broadcaster made a decision to kind of cut away as soon as he made it to the end zone, which I don't know why. Maybe they anticipated that, but you got to kind of get that shot if you're the producers.
It's such a good celebration, and I will continue to go around the room asking you what was more interesting from the football weekend than this. But let's hear Drew Rosenhaus say himself how it is that Tyreek Hill wants to be a cop.
The most important thing is Tyreek is okay physically, mentally. He was very distraught about what happened. Tyreek has told me over and over he's a big supporter of police. He was telling the police there, I want to be a police officer in the future. This is crazy. I've never seen anything like this.
Get the f*** out of here.
He tells me all the time. It's just a regular thing he tells him. What do you want to do next, Tyreek? I want to be a police officer.
Well, I thought he said he wanted to be a porn star. I thought that's something that he has also said.
That's more believable.
Would have been a strange thing to say to the cops.
Well, you could be a police officer in porn, right?
I've seen that several times.
That is correct.
But that's a terrible line to say to a cop when you're getting arrested, right?
Well, I don't think he said it, is what Billy's point is.
But, you're in Rome, Dan. You got to tell the cop, I want to be a cop. You don't tell him you want to be a porn star,
I don't know what was actually said there. Perhaps Jeff Darlington. I don't think any of it was said in Rome.
When in Rome?
None of it was said in Rome.
Definitely Miami Gardens.
Went on university.
Yeah.
Where were all these cops during Copa America?
Stugotz, do you realize how absurd it is that the Miami Dolphins season started? Now, keep in mind, Roy lives right near there. I grew up right near there. We're not very far from what this area is. It is not I'm guessing there are not often arrests of any kind made on what passes for a highway in front of that stadium. Like, that's not a place where people are regularly getting arrested.
No.
The idea that you're 3 hours before a game and somebody in the most expensive car you've ever seen, it's 3 hours before. You know what there is nothing else there except a Walgreens and football on Sundays. Like, they'll put Grand Prix there, but it's by itself. This is not a dangerous area. There is nobody wandering around who's going to be harmed by Tyreek Hill.
Dan, we've built it out. There's a Sonic now. Oh, yeah. And a Walmart. Well,
there's that strip mall
yes.
and nothing else over there. It was supposed to be a carnival. It was supposed to be Wayne Huizenga was going to build the new Disney World over there. It was going to be a huge amusement park. They didn't build anything there. There's nothing there. And this particular street, the only person who's going to be driving through there 3 hours early in an expensive car, it's not going to be a tailgater driving by themselves, is going to be a football player. You are motorcycle cops paid to protect that area, to know something about what your surroundings are. Arresting this particular person and then getting physical with him in a Miami where only in Dade is there for you because everyone's going to videotape it, and doing it all so poorly that you're on administrative leave before anyone can cover it up because everyone's already seen it before these officers get back to their motorcycles.
Do you think if Tyreek was driving around with his helmet on that it could have been avoided?
I just love the guy in the car that stops in the teal, and he's just like he's going to help. Hey! That's Tyreek Hill. What are you doing?
This is
you're drunk, guy. You're in a car. We know you have like a roadie in that passenger
I'm
seat.
going to ask you.
No, they all have roadies.
No, we don't know that.
No.
We don't know that. It's 10 a.m. It's 10 a.m. and we don't know that.
The game starts at 1.
I will tell you, Billy and I were in Kansas City, and they started at 5:30 a.m. for an 8 o'clock game.
It's 10 a.m. It's the most absurd thing someone has mentioned this segment. On a football Sunday,
Week 1.
10 a.m.
Honey, it's 10 a.m. I can't drink yet.
It's 10 a.m.
That's
One
last
more hour.
call.
The part that you guys are missing is not drinking at 10 a.m. It's drinking at 10 a.m. in your car.
No,
That's the part that you seem to be missing.
The passenger has the roadie, Dan. I'm not saying the guy driving is drinking. I'm saying the passenger has
Just
a
someone
little
there
Yeti
has an
canister.
open container.
Saving a butte.
Stugotz,
You guys are adorable.
this is what I want people to know about the surrounding areas. Outside of actually on the football field itself, where Tyreek Hill got arrested is the safest place in the world for Tyreek Hill to be to avoid arrest. Like there's no time and place that I could put Tyreek Hill anywhere in the universe except for on the football field inside the stadium, which I'd like to see, by the way. Somebody like subpoena him or something in the huddle, because I think that's coming at some point.
Process server?
Yeah.
Yes, that's coming at some point.
But Dan's completely right, but this is Tyreek Hill that we're talking about. You couldn't put it past him. If anybody could pull this one off, it might be Tyreek Hill.
The placement is what's so amusing to me about it. I'm assuming those motorcycle cops are getting this assignment at least in part because they like to be around football Sundays. Maybe the other cops prefer to watch the game and not be working, so there's some sort of maybe those cops are angry because they have to work instead of being able to be inside the stadium.
If you like football Sundays, wouldn't it stand to reason you would take Sunday off if you're a cop?
Yeah, but you may like football Sundays, but you also, keep in mind, love pulling over rich black guys.
I mean, I think look, the video is obviously damning, and they suspended the cop or put the cop on leave, right? But we don't know what happened, right? Like, and it seems like we're just saying Tyreek Hill should be able to do whatever he wants because he's a football player, which is not the message.
Well,
that we're trying
actually,
to give.
what I said is player in the entire league most likely to have been arrested would be him, just based on general disorganization, messy malfeasance in every part of his life.
Yeah, it's just Tyreek. Like, what situation did you get yourself in now? And I appreciate it in ESPN's coverage. Rex Ryan was there. Like, we don't know what said. It's hard being a cop. And then they kick it over to Randy Moss, who actually, I have experience. I've been arrested before a game. It was just great perspective. It was a perfect storm of coverage for ESPN. Yeah, I laid an egg against Seattle when this happened to me. What?
We got a guy for this.
How? How you have it all figured out, ESPN?
I can't believe, Mike, I don't know if we can play this. I have Tyreek Hill post-game sound, and I'd like to hear from Tyreek on the field in his own words about what happened.
Tyreek, it's been a roller coaster of a day for you, starting on the way to the stadium, a day filled with adversity. How would you just describe your mindset coming into this game today?
You know what, man? So when I left home, I told my wife, I was like, babe, I'm finna go to work, and I'm finna get prepared for my day. Little did I know, that was quite a surprise on the way, man. But you know what? At the end of the day, dog, I got a job to do, and my job is to come inside of this stadium and be great, dog. So,
what did it mean to you for your teammates to join you this morning and show support?
bro, I love that. I was fired up, dog, to see Joe New, to see Calais, right there in the heat of the battle with me, man. That goes to show that, man, it's more than about football, dog. Like, the brotherhood that we got outside of just football is amazing, dog, because those dudes were, like, really risking their lives for me. You feel me? So, shout out to Joe New, shout out Calais, shout out to Drew Brooks, shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to my mom, too. My mom got out the call. Go, South Georgia, you feel me? Shout out to Mon Dukes, too, you feel me?
Tyreek, what happened this morning?
You know what? I'm not gonna comment on any of that, man. Like, whenever stuff come out, we just
Best in the nation.
we the best in the nation, man. But look, like I said, I'm not gonna comment on that. We just gonna let bygones be bygones. Move on and learn from it. That's it.
Appreciate the time, Tyreek. Congrats on the win.
This is a Key and Peele sketch.
So good.
The season starts with the star receiver being arrested, and I guess it's surprising, but as soon as I heard it was Tyreek Hill, I was like,
If anybody can do it.
less surprising, and I don't know what happened. I'm gonna guess. I think I can guess this fairly. Can I not? That maybe not. Maybe I can't. But that it probably wasn't yes, sir, no, sir, upon arrival at stopping Tyreek Hill when he's trying to get to work, because it's dangerous what he does, and he kind of has to be amped up. And while I wouldn't hit security walking in here with, do you know who I am? One can imagine that an athlete who does what he does as well as he does it might try to explain, hey, I got to get in there. I'm playing today.
Especially when you consider his affinity for policing.
I'm certain he was thinking, because eyewitnesses said that he was going a bit fast, and I'm certain he was thinking, well, I could do that around here. Everyone knows who I am, even the cops, right?
I'm imagining when the cops walk up to him, he almost has a smirk on his face because he thinks they're going to recognize him.
Yeah.
So he's
Right.
like, hey,
Yeah.
look who you pulled over.
Where's
Got a
Jake
game,
Paul?
right.
Yeah.
Who's pranking me?
It's possible this was just a giant misunderstanding because, as he's pointed out, he wants to be a police officer. He's going to do that one day. So maybe what happened is that they came and then they didn't follow the procedure exactly. And he's like, no, Mr. Officer, here's the thing. This is the way that we're supposed to handle the situation. I'm an aspiring police officer. And then they didn't like that. And then, one thing led to another and boom.
Right.
Do you think it was yes or no, sir?
Of course not.
It's possible.
I mean, I think their experience with law enforcement is a lot different than ours, and there's often videos of people yes-sirring, no-sirring, and it not mattering with police officials. I will say, if I'm ever in a situation where I'm scared, I'm confused, there's police around, I'd be happy to see Calais Campbell coming out of a car to my defense.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. The size of his hands?
And then he ended up on the ground, too, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know how
How do you cuff that
I
guy?
don't know how you cuff those wrists.
Do they ask him, can you lay down for us, please? Because we can't do that.
Okay.
Jeff Darlington is with us now. ESPN, as Mike Ryan told you, had a hell of a day yesterday. Just came out of the box blazing. And right in the middle of it, near a sweaty Drew Rosenhaus, near an arrested Tyreek Hill, was this dapper stud of a man. Look at him. Look, he looks like television. Darlington, you used to be a newspaper person, but now you look like television. It's appalling.
Full sellout, Dan.
It's annoying.
And I felt very bad for Drew. I was literally distracted during the interview by how much sweat was coming off of his body. And I hope I asked the right questions, even though I really heard very little of what he said because of the sweat.
Is there any reason you couldn't have done that in a cooler place for Drew? He's being a spokesman for Tyreek Hill, and he looks guilty as hell because of the amount that he's sweating.
I don't think it would have mattered. Drew, honest to God, just had run from across the street where Tyreek Hill was detained by police officers on a serious note, like doing his client's work and sprinting back. I don't think an igloo would have kept him from sweating.
He was very sweaty. What can you tell us is the truth here, Jeff? The closest as you can ascertain it, not necessarily based on just what was being said, but what you were reporting.
Well, I can't tell you the entirety of the truth yet because the Miami-Dade Police Department still has not said exactly what led to them pulling over Tyreek Hill. I asked Tyreek last night after the game why he believes they pulled him over. He said speeding, reckless driving, or whatever. That's a pretty broad
I think it's the
stroke.
whatever. I'm going to go ahead.
The whatever.
Yeah, the
It
whatever.
might be.
Yeah, I mean, I think it might be speeding and or reckless driving, but it's most likely to be just whatever.
Whatever's playing into account.
But that is the only answer that we need. That we have, the only question we have left. And I mean, obviously, it's disturbing to see anyone face down on the ground in handcuffs. And obviously, there needs to be some justification for that action. We do not know what the justification of that is yet. Certainly, I'm willing to wait for Miami-Dade to release that information. I was just speaking with someone there, a spokesperson, who said once it becomes an internal investigation, it really gets jammed up. I guess I don't envy his job because now he's sitting here like waiting on the investigation. But that being said, I mean, that's a pretty significant question that needs to be answered because, like I said, if you're face down in the road outside of your place of employment in handcuffs, that needs to be justified.
Are you as cynical as me and saying to yourself, if we got to administrative leave before we even got to the cover-up because there were so many cameras there, that is an admission that somebody did something wrong there, even if they're going to – when it happens that fast with a police force, it's an admission before an investigation that's a little bit startling because I think they got caught, right? It's the videos there and you can see what's happening.
Well, honestly, so yes, and like I know this is a very weird comparison to make. I do not make it lightly. I know there was a lot of jokes the fact that I was at Scottie Scheffler's arrest. Like I saw that with my own eyes. Like I recognized what was happening there, and it did not feel right. It felt like it was going too far. I could see what was happening, what was going wrong. So I'm now in this position where, as a reporter, you don't want to take one situation and apply it to another. Everything is unique in its own circumstance, but it certainly does cause me to obviously be like, we need to find out exactly what happened and why it happened. Calais Campbell, a man of the year for the NFL, stopped to try to basically help and figure out what was going on and ended up in handcuffs himself. That needs to be justified in itself. So yes, I am skeptical. And I think it's okay to be skeptical, even though we can also give the disclaimer that we deserve to wait to hear the entire story.
Jeff, you know Calais Campbell. Like this is, and I know anyone can be capable of just about anything, and we can go he said on anything. But Calais Campbell is not, the Calais Campbell I know isn't going in there to fight.
Yeah, but that's not his job. You can't approach a cop when he's arresting someone.
Look, listen, to both of your points, he is a wonderful human, one of the gentlest giants in the world, but the police don't know about the gentle part when he approaches. I am not necessarily defending them. We don't know exactly what happened. I will say, though, this guy is 350 pounds rolling up on a scene. Again, does that merit putting him in handcuffs? I don't think we know yet, but I think we do have to understand from the police's side of this, they don't necessarily know that he is the NFL Man of the Year and a gentle giant. Again, it's almost an uncomfortable thing because, we're talking about a police department and we're talking about the athletes we cover who we know very well. And trying to take the bias out of that can be a little bit tricky.
So Scheffler was detained. Tyreek Hill was let go. What about being there in that moment, that close to not just the stadium, but the team offices and facility? How did that help Tyreek Hill in that situation? Because if he wasn't Tyreek Hill going to his workplace, steps from his facility, he probably does get sent back to a facility.
100%. I 100% believe that Tyreek Hill gets I shouldn't say that. I need to not jump to conclusions based on one circumstance. I will say that Scottie Scheffler had nobody out there representing him, but I was not representing him. I was literally the only person out there. He's turning to me, someone who I've interviewed
Stugotz says
once.
you should have.
Stugotz
says you should have
went to prison with him.
Stugotz says you should have run into the fray. Yes, with your microphone, your brush, and all your TV lights. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Listen, I have plenty of friends who have said that it would have been better for my career,
no doubt,
to get arrested. Yep. Dan, I'm trying to maintain some journalistic integrity here, albeit as a TV sellout. But the circumstances, like you said, like. He only had me out there looking to me saying, can you help me? A reporter from ESPN who interviewed him one time because I just started covering golf. Tyreek Hill had representatives from the organization out there within minutes. People who are trained, not only just representatives, people who are trained literally to handle situations just like this. That is a disturbing fact. Tyreek said it himself. What if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? Scottie Scheffler was out there. There was nobody from the PGA out there. There were literally, I recall a police officer walking me across the street to the edge of the property line at Valhalla, where I turned around and the police officer said to me, "You need to keep going." And I said, "I'm a credentialed member of the media on private property. I'm going to stand right here."
Yes,
and
private property guy. Yeah,
I did it. I was.
Yes,
you did it, Jeff. Next time, get arrested.
I've been saying that since I was a teenager.
I know. I went full. I'm the media. The whole thing. The police officer turned to like an intern out there in a PGA hat and said, "You need to get this guy off the property." And that kid just looks at the police officer and goes, there's nothing I can do here. That's literally what Scottie Scheffler had out there representing him. That's what, and he ended up going to jail.
Mike, if Tyreek
had somebody,
if Tyreek Hill were 6 blocks away, if he were 6 blocks away, he'd still be in jail.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, again.
Well, he would have been
taken. I agree.
Right.
Point taken.
And Darlington still would have been there. I mean,
and Darlington would be reporting from outside of the jail. I don't know what happened to you, Darlington. Like, how is it that you're always around when people are getting arrested in a way? Like, it's not like there are that many arrests in sports that are like this, and you've been right next to both of them.
I don't get that. I mean, listen, when you're in a lot of places, like, that's part of the job, things happen. But yeah, I cannot explain it. I literally said to somebody when I got to the stadium yesterday, I said, glad to be covering the NFL where we don't have to deal with arrests. Glad to be off the golf beat where it's constant arrests.
Well, what happened? I want to know because we were trying to get you on back then, and evidently,
yeah, that was a day.
Well, but it sounded like your life kind of got turned upside down. No, I was just curious. It
wasn't that.
No,
it was more that I believed that I am not. I know Stugotz is going to make fun of me, and you probably will too. I just felt in that moment that I said everything that I knew on ESPN. And I felt like in this world that should live as itself, as someone who literally witnessed it. I didn't feel like I needed to go on every talk show. I am not trying to be like, oh, I'm holier than thou journalist. I just felt like it could live in the moment. That's my sincere apologies for not coming on.
You did say you didn't want to make it all about you, and I responded, no, you need to make it all about you.
I think that's exactly what you responded. Yeah.
Chris,
you were one of the people that's of the thousands of texts, you were among the people, like my friends, who were like, you look like today. That's what a lot of people told me because I didn't get to put my makeup on, TV makeup.
Sure.
That was nice of my friends. You were among those people that I put my phone on silent.
Right.
And just did my job.
Just looking out for you, Jeff. That's all.
Before you get out of here, Jeff, I don't remember. Mike Ryan was murky and muddy on the details. I think I owe you, after a lost bet, I don't remember what the lost bet was, that you have to tase me. Did we not agree?
I do.
What was the bet?
We did.
What was the bet, and when are we paying it? Now that I'm free from ESPN's liabilities, we can actually do this.
Was that the reason we didn't do it? I felt like it was just one of those.
Yeah, Dan,
we don't want to do that. But
Jeff is still there.
It was Tom Brady. It was one of the things. Tom Brady going to the Bucs.
I don't remember what the bet was.
It was either Tom Brady leaving the Patriots.
Yes.
I think that was it.
That was it.
That was what it was. Mm-hmm. Or it was me saying Tom Brady was going to go to the Bucs. But I think it was Tom Brady leaving the Patriots.
Okay, I don't think it was either of those things. I
100%.
I owe you it.
Like I don't know. I'm pretending like I don't know. I'm pretending right now like I don't know. It is seared in my brain.
Darlington,
I'm trying to do the thing.
Darlington, do you after talking to everybody, do you feel? See, here's the difference between like a columnist and a reporter, and you don't want to be holier than thou journalist. I'm not asking Jeff Darlington, the objective, unbiased reporter, about this. I'm asking Jeff Darlington, who has come through journalism in Miami and views the world through the prism that he views it in and knows what happens with cops and black people and Miami. I'm asking you what you think happened here outside of what you're stating objectively.
I go back to my own experience with, which is all I can do, a white golfer and what I saw the police do with him, it's certainly like not lost on me that this was not a white golfer outside of Hard Rock Stadium. So if that can happen there, I think that I mean, I'm not naive to the way the world works, but I also refuse to just simply say at this point that there's no, I'm not trying to be the holier than thou. We need to know more. I mean, like, this is not an accusation by any means, but there's pedestrians on that road. How fast was he going? What happened? But I stand on the fact that if you have anybody, black or white, face down on the ground in handcuffs, you have to be justified. It has to be justified. I don't care who you are, who's there to defend you, where it happens, what your job is. You have to be justified to put someone in that position.